Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. I'm old school, but I keep it funky fresh, y'all. And this is deep, y'all. I'm from the deep, y'all. And what you get is what you motherfucking see.
Welcome back, humans! You know what day it is, and I'm back with a middle of the week vent session. My name is Jaime, and let's get on with some vents, humans. Like and subscribe. Project 46, man, it's never stopping. This dude's nonstop. He's just like keeps going. This guy, you know, the Priz. I call him Project 46 because he is number 46. And, you know, I don't know how many people are happy with what he's doing, but I'm one of them that's maybe not. And then there's a lot of people that also might agree with me, but there's also people that might also disagree with me, which is quite fine. But, you know, this is my vent, not yours. You're more than welcome to vent in the comments. But this is my time. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, he's doing it again. And I don't know, man. Like I said, it's getting on my nerves. Sounds like he made like a threat almost. I don't know about you humans, but it kind of felt like a threat when he said that this winter there will be deaths. And stuff like that. Illness and deaths. Like, I almost felt like he threatened us. Like, I mean, maybe he didn't. I'm not saying like he definitely did. I'm just saying it felt that way. It felt like one of those like wink, wink, nudge, nudge type situations. Where he was like, look, man, do it or else. It felt a little creepy to me. Like, it felt a little pushy. It felt a little creepy. It made me think of a few things. It made me think about a few things, humans. One, this guy or his whole administration does not care about humans. I really don't think they care about humans. I don't think they care about our poverty. I don't think they care about homelessness. I don't think they care about people struggling, you know, just to, you know, the starvation. I don't think they give a damn about veterans. This is my own opinion. I just don't think they care about us humans here in America. Only because things seem weird. I mean, it just seems really strange. You'd rather take care of people that aren't from here legally with like free room and board, free air travel, money packages, free health care. They're also talking about voting and trying to give them Social Security. All kinds of crazy things are going on. They get this pamphlet where they can just travel through security like nonstop. And what about the people here in America that have been hurting for a long time? Like the guys that fought for our country, you know, like the veterans. Or what about all these people that are homeless? That giant quadrillion gabillions, you know, trillions of billions of spending bill that you want to pass, or even the millions that your billions you're spending now, would probably feed probably everyone in this country. And maybe I might be off on a few dollars, but I think you'd pretty damn close to having all that money to, you know, feed all these people. Or take care of some of your veterans. Maybe give the veterans or some of the homeless people right now at these hard times, or some of the families struggling right now, some free room and board, and maybe some free travel with a little cash. Maybe give them a little vacation they probably could never see in a lifetime, and y'all can afford that. You know, maybe you could do something like that to show humans you probably care. Or something, instead of saying, hey, look what we're going to do for these people and not you. You know, like our taxes probably got to pay for that thing, more than likely. You know, I don't know, man. It's just weird. And it's like, and they always want to push fear. They don't want to push you like hope. They don't want to give you hope for nothing. They want to just give you fear for something. They want you to fear something, and they want you to hope for nothing. Doesn't it seem like that, humans? On this holiday event, like it's this beautiful holiday coming up, which is going to be a great Christmas. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone. Hope everybody has great holidays at this whatever holidays you celebrate or have celebrated that already happened before this holiday. I'd probably forget them all if I messed them up, or I'll even say them all wrong. So I would say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to the ones who like Merry Christmases. And I can't wait. You know, it's really close, but I feel like these guys are like being like Grinches and shit. Like they're just trying to fucking just push fear, and that's it. You know, like so they can you know, because they say if there's no, they say like there's no crisis, then their plans or agendas don't work. That's what you hear. You know, when you read some things like I'm like, man, it seems like if there's not a crisis, then this next like whatever initiative they have going out doesn't seem to work. But they push fear hard. You know, it's like peer pressure, like when you were in school. But they make like a high school kid's peer pressure look like fucking like kindergarten compared to the peer pressure that they're doing on us. They're like shoving the whole globe like inside a fucking like the locker room at your high school and shit. And they're all like, dude, you better hit this, or you need this, take this. Like they're giving us all this peer pressure, on super high levels. It's like next level fucking peer pressure. It's like some new shit. It's not peer pressure, like steer pressure. They're like steering this pressure right in your face, like just steering right, head on collision. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. But there's a lot of families out here. This inflation's hurting everyone. There's people struggling, and people are suffering from all this. I happen to be one of them that's pretty struggling. I mean, stuff's pretty tough, man. It changed really quick. You got a new house, and then like things were like okay in your budget, and then these things start happening all weird, and it's just like, oh man, you got to recalculate the whole everything. So it was it's crazy. There's a lot of people struggling. And, what could the president do? Would he sit there and, come up to us and be like, make an announcement and be like, I got an idea, how we're going to help you guys with these high prices and people struggling to eat and buy everyday things. And you don't have to sit in a parking lot to use the internet. He's thought of a solution. Well, since you're struggling to eat, struggling to pay your bills and struggling to do things every day in everyday life, struggling to find a good quality of life sometimes, some of you humans. He figured out a really good solution. He said, I got a plan for this. I'm going to start collecting student loans again. That'll help. How do you guys like that? Wouldn't that be a great idea? Like, I'm just going to start your collection of your student loans, and that'll make you, that'll help out with your struggling of your eating and paying all your bills. And some people that aren't working and things, hey, we're going to help you out with that. So I'm going to need that student loan money. That's a great solution, don't you think? Hey, just start paying your student loans. Don't go get that sandwich for your family or don't go feed your children. Pay your student loans. You get back to those times, it's like when it's super hard. It's like, do I pay this bill or do I get some food? And that's when it's really hard, man. It's like, phew, excuse me, because like sometimes it gets like, sometimes it's hard, man, like that. You get in that situation, you get in that pickle, and you got to figure out how to work things. You got to work that magic, and there's people like that. Now we got to worry about student loans. Everybody out there with your student loans, man, I feel for you, because now they come in for those too, with prices being this high, gases being this high, everything being super inflated, and now they want your student loans. It's kind of bananas. How about some of those, hundreds of $1,000s that you were going to supposedly give to the people that weren't from here, with their free travel and free room and board? How about give it to some of the homeless or the veterans? How about some of that for them guys? How about you hook them up? Maybe some of the poor people out here. And then they would ask questions. Well, are they citizens of America? I'm like, yes, they fought for our country. They're citizens. They were born here. Some of them, had struck a luck. Maybe their factory shut down or the business shut down. People are trying to make some money. Well, that's not enough. Did they cross our border illegally? I'm like, no. Well, you don't qualify for that money. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. That's an interesting system you got there, Prez. Interesting. Thanks, man. Instead of come on, man, your next one should be thanks, man. Thanks, man. Then the thing that bothers me is like you want to talk about them all the time, and they always put all these little check notes if you say something bad about whatever, any part of the establishment, they're going to put a little check mark or quotation or a little something on your content, But whatever, man. We should still have freedom of speech, whether you like it or not. It's like everybody remember that, freedom of speech. That's part of that amendment. There's other things involved in that amendment we should also not forget. Should I read word for word? I don't really want to. But we do, freedom of speech is very important. Right to assemble peacefully. And whatever else is in there. It's a lot. Kids should learn cursive so you don't forget, so you don't even know how to read it in the future. That's one of the conspiracies right now why they're not teaching cursive anymore. Because they don't want your children supposedly not to be able to read this thing anymore in the head times. Be like, no, that's not what that says. That says you give us more of your money. Right here. Oh! And they're going to be like, oh, I get it. I see it now. And they're going to think, income tax is going to mean like a hieroglyph for like, give them money in their language, because they're going to try dumbing us down even more back then. It was like, you can't read cursive. They don't want you to do it. You don't want your children to do it. Children, I hope you just want to learn it on your own. That could be like the new challenge. Do the new TikTok challenge. All you youngsters that don't know cursive, start learning that shit. You know, like when famous people have that crazy signature that you can't read, but I bet you if they wrote in cursive, they probably write like that. But when you're famous, you got to have that crazy, design. It's got to be you, so nobody else can just copy your name. Like, yeah, I wrote it. It looks like anybody else wrote it. Cursive. Don't let it go. Hold on to it. But like I said, man, they put a cushion around this dude. They put a barrier around him. They wrap him in bubble wrap. You're not allowed to say anything bad. But the other guy was just like a free-for-all. You could just say whatever you wanted. You can do whatever you wanted about, they called him Orange. They said fucking, like I said, the accordion. And there's people that say all kinds of names for my man. And those are all free. Those are all allowed. But you can't do it about this guy. Any form, it'll get you silenced. It'll get you silenced or in trouble. Like, man, I got one taken down already. Or no, I got two taken down. One brought back up. The other one just said, no, this ain't going up. I'm like, really? So I went to other platforms. And there was just a bunch of crap that happened with all that. I don't even want to get into it. But I just don't understand, like, why you can't say anything bad. If you say anything bad, like, how can you trust this establishment if you can't even, like, express the way you feel about something? You're not going to agree on. We can't always agree on everything. That's all I mean. I'm not saying, like, you are bad human beings. I don't know what you do in your personal life. You're probably a super nice, generous dude. But whatever's happening with the system that we're experiencing, it probably sucks. You probably got a favorite grandkid that's probably like, you're the best grandpa on the planet, and your kids are probably like, you're probably the best dad. But you probably are a good human being. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying this, like, what's happening out here and, like, on the outside, like, with all the citizens like us and other humans, like, the stuff we're experiencing sucks. And we want to express ourselves. But it's like, we're not allowed. I don't understand. And it seems like the less and less, we're not going to be able to say anything. Like, it's going to be hard to podcast for anybody anymore. Especially, like, the super, clever-witted, like, comedians out there. Those guys are, like, I love watching all them. Those guys are going to be, like, so limited, it'll probably be hard to even laugh at some things. They're going to, I'm sure they're going to find ways to make it funny because they're really good at what they do. But it's going to probably be, like, very difficult for them because they're naturally, their gift is to just, let it out, and then something happens and for the reaction, and now it's going to just be, like, really tougher and tougher, it seems like. Unless we try to keep fighting. Like, people are fighting out there, taking stands for our rights and things. So let's just keep it going, in a peaceful way. I don't think we have to, like, riot for everything. In my opinion, I don't think we have to riot, but I think if we come together, that's very powerful, where I don't think, the violence part would have to happen. And then we have to be smart about when we decide to do these things when we get together, because you have those people they send in undercover. You see stories about these, and there's something going around right now, that's gotten some people's content taken down about a certain event that happened almost a year ago. And there was a lot of things going on, and there was a lot of suspicious characters in there that people were starting to call out, saying they weren't real, citizens. They were part of something else, But you're not allowed to talk about those kind of things. And it's just really interesting. It's just when people find out something that could be true, or what if it really is true? And then as soon as it comes out and it's something against, the establishment, they're going to smear it to the ground, like putting out a cigarette. It's kind of wild. So like I said, how can we trust this? Is this an establishment that we can trust? Like, do we trust that there's going to be another fair election next year? Like, is it going to be like 85 million votes? Like, are we going to have a fair election for the next person, the next candidate? I'm not sure, because there's a lot of stuff that's making me not trust what's happening right now. And I know what people are going to say. There's a lot of people that can make an argument to, counter what I'm saying, which is fine. That's an opinion. You know what I mean? This is mine also. And I feel like what's happening is just like we're just like, there's some like shady stuff going on, There's some shady stuff going on, Like, you're not allowed to talk about my man's son. He's got an investigation going on. You can't search for it on Twitter. If you do, it just blocks your whole screen, and you can't search for my man's investigation that's going on. You can't talk about him, and his kid's got some real shit going on, and they don't want to talk about it. Not one news channel, Like, it's kind of strange. Like, They got some real. They must have some like they got some real shady dirt on this man, on his son, and nobody like wants it. Nobody cares. Like nobody either like. It's like that out of sight, out of mind. I don't even know because I don't want to put anyone's thought process inside your own head or nothing like that. But it's like weird because it really seems like that. Humans, it seems like some of them something's weird. Something weird's happening the way we got all separated. It's like the washing of the brains has been completed. It's already enough people involved where they can push the numbers and sway things now. It's kind of strange. It's kind of strange. And I always say that, like, can we really trust these people? Because you want to. There's wars and there's threats out there. There's terrorists. If there's all kinds of crazy things that could happen, here. So you want to trust them to protect us and things like that. But when you hear these things, or like, they want to push these things towards us and they want us to do these things, but yet an establishment that's going to protect itself from any liability in the future, that's another thing that makes me not want to, why would you, if you're so confident, like that's something like that, like something like that, you're going to protect yourself against any liability. It makes me feel like we're like, part of the big, like it just feels like a little guinea piggish. Like I feel a little like a bit like a guinea pig, when those things are happening. You've ever seen those things like when we were younger, and there's ads now all over the internet. But when we were younger, they used to be in like the want ads. People were like, oh, you want to try this and, try this medicine and try this medicine. And when you're there, they say you sign a paper. And when you look at these papers, you can look these up, man. It's really funny. You pull these up and it says the same thing. Like you can't do nothing. You can't sue us, whatever. But here, take these. And these are supposed to help your hair grow, or these ones will be boner pills, or, it's fine, like the early stages of Viagra, who knows, and there's all these, liabilities, things that you got to protect yourself from. And that's like, and that's what came out with this, thing that they want to put out now. And that's the only problem, like, where I question things. And then another problem I have a question thing is the choice. Like, it's just the right to choose if you did or didn't want to do it. I'm not against it all. I'm against the part of having the choice. It shouldn't have to be forced or threatened, of crazy things like that. We should just have the choice to do anything, whether I like to keep my own status private, even if I am or not, and I feel safe wherever I go. And, that's the way it is. It's just weird. It's just really weird to me. And I don't, like I said, I'm not against anybody's opinion on where you stand. I just think it's strange that they want to protect themselves about a possible liability if there is one in the future, because there's some things in the past that have been. And I know our technology is amazing. Like we're growing and making strides, and I know the thing helps. I know it helps. That's why I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all, because I know it helps. I believe it helps. And I just think that, we should just have the choice. But I think if that part, wasn't forced so much, that it would have been a lot easier path for them, for more people to want to do it. Because as soon as you start like the urgency or the forcing things or whatever, the conspiracy people get involved, other people get involved, and then then words and stories and facts and fake articles come out, and all of the fake news people or whatever, and people start spinning words and spinning stories and then things get all crazy, and then more fear happens. So it's just weird. To me, it's just kind of strange. And it's kind of messed up the way they do things, and if you really think about it, they use statistics like to lie to us. I know statistics are factual, but the way they use statistics, they can use them in a way to lie to you. And I have a couple examples, before people start tripping, because I'm not like doing no conspiracy. Like, I feel like they use statistics, and you can look at this yourselves, because if you look at actual numbers besides percentages or vice versa, you'll see that there's weird things involved. And you know what I mean? So here's what I'm talking about. There was a case where a Target store almost got in some trouble, because they had a security system, and it had it was computer based. And there was an individual, real smart guy, had this computer system going on, started tracking certain shoppers. And the only problem was he was, tracking shoppers unbeknownst to them. They had no clue they was being watched. Okay? So that's already, problem, red flag one. So this man was using these and tracking, he was tracking this woman and watching this woman, this certain woman we're going to use as an example. And he was watching her shopping habits. And he noticed that women that were pregnant and, were, purchasing, more lotions for the skins and more this, and that. He started noticing that women that were pregnant, started building this algorithm, and the algorithm started tracking the shopping habits of pregnant women. So then he started following this one woman and she wasn't showing no signs of pregnancy, but the algorithm picked her up and started watching what she was buying. And literally this computer program algorithm predicted this woman's due date. And it was against the law what they were doing. And so now, and yes, it happened at a Target store. Okay? This was kind of crazy, humans. It was a person at a Target store. And this story's kind of buried deep out there, but it was pretty recent. And so it's kind of wild. So when they use these statistics, so they were using these shopping patterns of the women that were pregnant, and they noticed this woman starting to start the early stages of her shopping progress, and they noticed that the computer noticed this woman was pregnant. And it knew when she was due. It's kind of wild. And they started shipping to her house baby stuff coupons, like baby diaper coupons and baby formula coupons and baby clothes coupons. And all these things about babies. And her father, because she was a young woman, her father was like, what's all this shit coming in the mail? Why is this coming to you? And it was because, and they literally knew her due date before, her dad did even. They knew she was pregnant before even her family did. And that's kind of wild. So when they caught all this heat, I don't really know what happened as far as what happened when they got caught. But all I know is that they started changing it, and they still, I believe, it's rumored that they still do it today, which in all the stores, if you look around, it's kind of weird because now they even do it digitally. You talk about what you like, and then it pops up on your social medias everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's kind of creepy. And they use this, and now they throw out the coupons, and they'll throw them out to people, specified to those algorithm type shoppers, and they'll sprinkle in other things around. So now they can, avoid this, avoid all this smoke or heat, because people caught on to it. And this this one particular woman that I used about them predicting her pregnancy, got in, they were smarter than she thinks. She was a really smart woman, got in, got the right people involved and, opened this up. So it was a really interesting story. But that's another way they would use percentages against you. Not necessarily lied, but they put her on this blast right in front of her family. It's kind of crazy. But let's say when I use another example of statistics, because I was talking about the algorithm used the statistics of the pregnant woman shopping habits. So here's another one. Let's say there was a person at a company and he needed to hire some more people. So he was at 5% employment rate. And then the following week, his performance was so great, he had a 100% increase. So basically, all he did was get, another 5%. So now he has 10% employees. So if he had 5 employees and now he's got 10 employees, he got a 100%, increase. So think about that when they use numbers towards you. You want to look at all the numbers, because it could be okay, this place only hires way more women in this position than men, or vice versa. This position usually only is favored towards men and not women. This should be, more level. But then when you look at the chart, it sees who applied where and who applied more. So when they throw those percentages, you see the percentages, showing a negative way. It just didn't show you who applied where into the most, and it's not necessarily where they applied, it's what their interests were. So if they were interested more in this other area and not this one, they could use the one they weren't interested in their favor to tell you that, not many people hire women in this area. And that's how they use the statistics to lie to you in some ways. And that's what I found out, reading into this, I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And, it's wild the way they do these things, oh my goodness, let's see what, like I said, statistics are wild. Just by doubling a number, you can change it percentage-wise, and the only person will see that percentage. And all you did was double it. It's wild. Or there's this one wild one. I saw this one right here that was in the article itself about people with big feet are better at math. Are better at math. So I know you're at home checking your shoe size right now, which is fine. But humans, they didn't tell you what was all involved in that study. Like what was all in those graphics, in the demographics of that statistic study. So in that study, they didn't tell you that young children and infants were also calculated in this algorithm because it wasn't a human that did the problem or the equation. It was a computer. And the computer used the algorithm of the small seed from infants and young children and babies. And noticed that, as you got older, you got smarter. So, of course, when your feet got bigger, you was better at math because you grew up. And that's the way they use statistics, humans. Isn't that interesting? But to me, it's really interesting to me when they do these kind of things, like I say. And then if you want to come out and, I use it to, statistics. I could have used them in other ways, but they would have probably took my video down. So I use them in these ways, but you can put them both together. You can use these statistics in other forms of numbers the way they throw at you and just look at the demographics yourself. And you will see how sometimes, numbers can be very manipulated and really push the narrative the way they want to push the narrative. Especially with the big math, the big feet in math equation. That one got me that one was so right there out in the open and blatant. Just because you got big feet, you're better at math. But when they did the algorithm study and checked how the study was done, it calculated, like I said, young children and infants and stuff. So, of course, you're going to get smarter as you get bigger feet. Because you're growing up, not because your feet are growing. Because you're learning and going to school and shit. So, who knew that they would be doing these kind of things? And more and more, we are kind of maybe surrounded and cushioned a lot in technology. Maybe we're a little spoiled and it's not even good technology. We might have cool technology, but this isn't the stuff we have now isn't as useful as we think it is. There could be other things we could be doing with this cool. Literally, we got computers in our fucking hands, but yet we rather use it to watch comedy videos or whatever, right? When it could be used for computing, smart things, using the statistics in our favor, to send them back when we have rebuttals against our government doing things that we don't approve of. We should use them ourselves. And that's all I got for y'all humans. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if y'all would hit me with a like and a subscription and turn on those notifications because your boy's here twice a week. My name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent. Till next time, humans. See ya.
Yes,